Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Tina. It's time for a daily devotional. Today, we're going to read some of God's words about sound. I really like learning about how God is the source of life for all things. And sound is something that we really don't pay attention to, maybe, unless it's like music or sounds that we like. But we don't know, when God created everything, how He proportioned the sounds for us. So let's read God's words. God says, "What is the third thing? It is also something that is an essential part of the normal environment of human existence, something for which God had to make arrangements when He created all things. It is very important to God and to each and every human being. If God had not taken care of this thing, it would have greatly interfered with the survival of mankind. Meaning, it would have had such a significant impact on the life of man and his fleshly body that mankind would not have been able to survive in such an environment. It could be said that no living thing could have survived in such an environment. So, what is this thing I speak of? I am speaking about sound. God created everything, and everything lives within God's hands. All of the things of God's creation are living and turning in constant motion within His sight. What I mean by this is that each thing God created has value and meaning in its existence. That is, there is something essential about the existence of each and every thing. In God's eyes, each thing is alive, and since all things are alive, each of them produces sound. For instance, the earth is constantly turning. The sun is constantly turning, and the moon too is constantly turning. As all things propagate, develop, and move, they are constantly emitting sound. All of the things of God's creation that exist on earth are in constant propagation, development, and motion. For example, the bases of mountains are moving and shifting, and all the living things in the depths of the seas are swimming and moving about. This means that these living things, all things in the sight of God, are in constant, regular motion, in accordance with established patterns. So, what is it that is brought into being by all of these things that propagate and develop in darkness and move in secrecy? Sounds. Great, powerful sounds. Beyond planet Earth, all kinds of planets are also in constant motion. And living things and organisms on these planets are also constantly propagating, developing, and moving. That is, all things with life and without life are constantly moving forward in the sight of God. And, as they do, each of them is also emitting sound. God has also made arrangements for these sounds. And I believe you already know His reason for this, do you not? When you get close to an airplane, what effect does the roar of its engine have on you? If you stay near it too long, your ears will be deafened. What about your heart? Will it be able to withstand such an ordeal? Some people with weak hearts would not. Of course, even those with strong hearts will not be able to withstand it for too long. That is to say, the effect of sound on the human body, whether it be the ears or the heart, is extremely significant for every human being. And sounds that are too loud will harm people. Therefore, when God created all things and after they had begun to function normally, God made appropriate arrangements for these sounds, the sounds of all things in motion. This, too, is one of the issues God had to consider when creating an environment for mankind. First, the height of the atmosphere above the Earth's surface has an effect on sound. In addition, the size of gaps in the soil will also manipulate and affect sound. Then, there are various geographical environments whose confluence also affects sound. That is to say, God uses certain methods to eliminate some sounds so that humans may survive in an environment that their ears and hearts can withstand. Otherwise, sounds would present a massive obstacle to mankind's survival, becoming a great nuisance in their lives and posing a serious problem for them. This means that God was very particular in his creation of land, the atmosphere, and the various kinds of geographical environment, and contained within each of these is God's wisdom. Mankind's understanding of this need not be too detailed. It is enough for people to know that God's actions are contained therein. Now, you tell me, this work that God did, precisely calibrating sound in order to maintain mankind's living environment and their normal lives, was it necessary? Yes. Since this work was necessary, then, from this perspective, can it be said that God used this work as a way to provide for all things? God created such a quiet environment for the provision of mankind so that the human body could live quite normally within it, without suffering any interference, and so that mankind would be able to exist and live normally. Is this then not one of the ways in which God provides for mankind? Was this not a very important thing God did? Yes. There was great need of it. So how do you appreciate this? Though you cannot feel that this was God's action, nor do you know how God performed this action at the time, can you still sense the necessity of God having done this thing? Can you feel God's wisdom and the care and thought he put into it? Yes, we can. If you are able to feel this, then that is enough. There are many actions God has performed among the things of his creation that people can neither feel nor see. I raise this simply to inform you about God's actions, so that you may come to know God. These are clues that can better enable you to know and understand God. Amen. This is amazing how God reveals the little things that we just don't pay attention to. Sound. I would have never imagined thinking of how the planets make noise when they turn, how the earth and everything that lives makes sound. Mountains moving make sounds, and how God had proportioned those sounds so that it is comfortable for us. So you can see the time and care that God put into everything so that we could survive and have a very comfortable life, that it doesn't affect our ears or our heart, because we know that a sound that's too loud can kill you. A sound that's also too low can also harm you. So we can see that God really took care in everything he did. Mankind could not do these things. Everything that has life has some sort of sound to it. And so it's a really great thing to see this, to understand more about God, better able to know the care and how wise God is in everything he does, and the time and effort that he put in so that we could have this great life that we have. Even the sound of music. In Revelation, it talks about the 144,000 that sing the song or praise and sing before God. And it's a really great thing, music, that we have all these beautiful sounds of birds and music and things like that, different animals chirping, squirrels, and we can hear these different things. So it's a really amazing thing that God has given us the senses that we have, and God revealing a lot of these different things, because nobody can reveal about the sounds of all the different life things but God himself. So I really like learning about this, about how God is the source of life for all things, and how God goes into detail about letting us know what he's done for us. So if you want to share anything on this passage, please feel free to do so. That's all I have to share for today. And I hope you like this, learning about the sound and the temperature and things like that. So hope you have a good day. God bless you, and hope to see you next time. Bye.